I'm so pumped that we got this greenhouse, and I can't wait to see these students using it.
I have students who have sensory challenges, so just putting hands in dirt is going to be a huge experience and opportunity.
I was impressed with the fact that it's a rigid-sided greenhouse.
We're going to be the first school greenhouse to actually have a garden year-round. This has opened up a whole new area of learning. So I have students with autism, and once you find their niche, giving them a job, and then they have the pride to say, I grew these. I teach the students with moderate cognitive impairments, and they're adults, so I'm teaching work skills. I'm teaching how to self-advocate, ask for help, following directions. Then when we get out into the hoop house, you're teaching customer skills.
We work with dirt. Sometimes we put 1 or 2 seeds in.
The greenhouse is a huge fundraiser, and so the students get paid to do work there because we're earning money.
It's pretty cool how to do the plants and get them all together.
They get a lot of experience talking to people because some students have speech impediments or trouble with their speech, and so we want them to communicate to employers but also to the community, and that helps them.
And we're also educating the community on what our program is. And that education then goes into trying to find my students jobs in the community. And now that I can expand that to all the rest of the students, and not only that, teach the other teachers how to incorporate this greenhouse, I just can't wait to see what we can do. The greenhouse was in my classroom scaffolding planks with fluorescent lights. And I started growing plants that way, and then we would transfer them out to the hoop house and sell the plants out there. Then Copper Country Mental Health said, hey, we've got this really cool greenhouse we're using for storage, and we used to use it for hydroponic tomatoes. We don't do that anymore. And would you like to use it? And that's where it started. And that was 17 years ago, because we haven't used it for 2 years. That's what made the difference. The greenhouse effect made the difference. Well, we service Keweenaw, Houghton, Baraga County. So our parents are in those counties. So they're coming from all 3 counties, and they are the best tomatoes you can buy, and it's all organic. People ask what we use. We use seed, soil, water, and the greenhouse effect. That's it. We don't add anything else. And they are the most prolific tomatoes. I use them in my own garden. And the zinnias are just, people love them. They just absolutely die for the zinnias. They're just this old-fashioned hardy flower that they love. And so it's word of mouth that it just spreads. It was a great fundraiser. It was a great teaching tool. When I got the call that the greenhouse was being taken down and they were going to build storage, and he said, do you want it? And I said, yes. And that's where this all started. It's been a ride since I said yes. I've become a grant writer. I'm a project manager. I know more about concrete than any special ed teacher in the Copper Country knows. I'm even a construction worker. When we first got in 2017, my original plan was to have it done by the fall of 2018. But then the Father's Day flood came. And I did not feel right asking contractors, suppliers to donate anything at that time for a greenhouse. It just didn't seem right. But MJO Construction did step up to the plate in the fall of 2018, and they poured that concrete, the most beautiful slab in the Copper Country. It is the most beautiful slab. It's just like silk. So they poured that free labor and materials, and they did it on the hottest day. Literally, their sweat is in that concrete. It's just awesome. And that's another thing that has come from this greenhouse is people understanding what we do. Getting the communication, getting it all out there, and also when people asked, how do you think you're going to get this done? And I just said, this is the Copper Country. This is the Copper Country. This is what we do. We help each other, and that's what's happened. I am just floored by the donations. We've raised over $8,000 in just private donations. The donations, the labor, the help, the ideas. It's just been phenomenal. In my classroom, I go farm to school. We just picked potatoes, carrots, and onions in my garden last week. This week, we're going to make stew with those ingredients. We picked blueberries at the Gerke Blueberry Farm. We made blueberry crisp. We picked apples, we're making apple crisp. It's teaching them where food comes from and eating better. Just getting good, wholesome food into their system and how much better they would feel.
So here we are on a cool, wet fall day, and I have a group picking apples for the cider press, another group picking late season blueberries, and then another group doing a tour of the farm animals. And here comes another bus. So, the Gerke Farm will never be the same, but I don't think the students will either. I'm so pumped that we got this greenhouse, and I can't wait to see these students using it.
My students have been learning about measuring and using math to make food each week. So this way we get to pick it from the farm, take it back to school, and experience fresh food. I have students who have sensory challenges, so just putting hands in dirt is going to be a huge experience and opportunity. The greenhouse will provide that for us in a safe environment.
When the Gerkes stepped up and said, "We are your farm," that was cool. That was a connection we didn't have before. So now we feel like we can bring students there anytime we want, and there's that connection. The service organizations, now they're looking out for us. Now they're looking out to help more. The Kiwanis now has come to the CTE program to ask for help for building the ramps. So now it's like getting those partnerships together and saying what we can do. Michigan Tech, that we can go and put our plants into their raised beds and how that makes a difference, and that those students know what our program is about. Portage Health Foundation could not have done this without the Portage Health Foundation. With the $20,000 grant, we were able to put all new panels. Now it looks like a brand new greenhouse. We're gonna have new heaters since the heaters were 30 years old. With that money, we have been able to bring new life into an old building, and it's going to be a permanent structure. Lake Superior Stewardship has been able to provide grant money for us now to do the raised beds outside of the greenhouse and do water collection with water barrels inside the greenhouse so that we can provide warmer water and possibly a passive heating source in the greenhouse in the cooler months of the year. The community as a whole, community supporting our greenhouse by buying the plants. That's a huge support. Volunteers that came during our work bees to clean the pieces, scrub the rust off the pieces. That has been a big help for us. Just the little tedious things that I couldn't do by myself, but people stood up and said, "We'll help you."
You said, isn't one parsley plant per square foot a little much? Well, look at how much is actually going on under the surface. It's like the iceberg situation.
My first hesitant thought was, how was I going to teach my coworkers who have to do more mainstream academic programming how to use this greenhouse to best complement and best teach their students?
I came here today to work with the teachers here and to get them excited about the things they can do with their students in this awesome, awesome structure.
Frame, that's nice. Yeah, I forgot to mention that for making.
Abby has been essential in tying that together to help me bridge the gap between my program of adults with the other students in our programs.
I think that these kinds of projects are important because when people start working side by side on something that they're going to share, like food that's going to become a meal that they share with each other or with their neighbors, you're creating a sense of place, a sense of belonging, a sense that I understand where I fit in the world, and that is a beautiful place.
She did say that we are the only greenhouse in the UP that is going to be utilized by just students with disabilities, and that's huge. So we're groundbreaking.
Well, when Karyn told me about this greenhouse project, I was impressed with the fact that it's a rigid sided greenhouse. This is going to allow them to do more for more of the year. They can heat the structure, and students can be involved year round. A lot of people have the idea that it would be so nice to have something like this. And then, to have the skills to carry it out and to be at a point in your career where you sort of have the time to dedicate to it. I think that's stuff that makes Karyn really special.
We have a huge apple orchard behind this building, this administrative building, and it's been there for years. It's an established apple orchard with a couple pear trees. And we just recently found out that the ISD owns 12 acres beyond this building. And there's some wetlands in there. But there's also some highland where we could build an interpretive trail. So through supporting this greenhouse and making it possible for us to bring life to an old building, we're looking beyond the greenhouse. We're looking to making this a community spot where people can come and enjoy our park-like atmosphere with an interpretive nature walk in the back. Another thing that was very essential in this process was Rick Isaacson, who had originally put up the greenhouse 30 years ago, and the blueprints. Those were essential things that we were given by mental health. Now he's retired, and my husband, who's retired, those two men put in 100 hours of labor to put the greenhouse up, and that was invaluable. But also Rick's knowledge of how it went up, because we were just given pieces. He had the knowledge, and his knowledge was invaluable to us. It really was. And then when my husband said it was an honor to work with the CTE students because they really understood the importance of this project. They did an awesome job. They took it serious. And one student even custom made a gutter end for us that was needed in his metal shop. Took the initiative to do that and tacked it in. That's the type of partnership that's so valuable, and that I didn't plan that, but it just happens because people want to do the right thing. People want to help us, and that's the Copper Country.
Watch this project grow, no pun intended. It is going to take off, and it's going to amaze you with the beautiful things that are going to happen. Not just the plants that come out of it, but the community relationships and the student learning.